What a day to be alive. The Chicago Blackhawks have fired Coach Joe Quenneville. And I'm going to start by saying this is strictly a video regarding my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking of it, of course, as well, what you're thinking about this situation. Did he deserve to be fired? Or did he not deserve to be fired? Some people might say, well, you don't even watch every single Blackhawks game, so you're not even relevant to this discussion. You might be right, but I've still figured it'd be great to discuss. And being a Blue Jackets fan and realizing that, you know, normally the Blue Jackets, we're that team that goes out there and we make the dumb trades and we make the bad trades. And we end up being the ones that get screwed out of a lot of trades because, you know, we got guys like Rick Nash trying to get out of here and stuff. But the Blackhawks are a rare instance where I can go out there and say and look back and it's like, man, we traded for Brandon Saad. We won the trade. Not only did we win the Brandon Saad trade, we traded him back to his original team and won that trade too. It was like a double flip. And it makes you wonder, it's like how much of the struggling Blackhawks can be blamed on the coach compared to maybe blaming it on the management. I mean, last season, you go out there and look at it, you can be like, oh, it's kind of an unfair season, right? Because when Corey Crawford was out there on the ice, he was playing lights out. He was playing great. They were a playoff contender easily, no doubt. And then he gets injured, and then everything just happens to fall off. And again, that's one of them places I can tell you, Anton Forsberg is not going to help you win a lot of hockey games. I would know because we traded him to the Blackhawks for, was it Panarin? Was that the Panarin trade? I think that was a Panarin trade. You guys got Forsberg in that deal, and yeah. You can see why we was happily letting him go, right? Then we go to take a look at this season, and it almost felt like the organization was just looking for a reason to let him go. Because flashback to a week and a half ago, this team was 6-2-2 and came out of the gate pretty well. It was looking very strong. I'm sure it wasn't even a question anybody to get rid of their coach at that time, 6-2-2. Then you hit this 5-game losing streak, and you go 6-6-3 on the season, which again, I say, I'm not inside that organization. I'm not going to act like I've seen every single Blackhawks game this year. But I can tell you, every single team does have a little bit of a sloppy stretch, whether it's beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season, where they go out there, they're going to lose 5 or 6 games in a row, right? It happens. But if they would have went out there and started, say, 0-6 on the season, I would have definitely felt differently about the situation, being like, oh, well, they can't even get these boys riled up out of the gate. Then you might start scratching your head a little bit, but to start 6-2-2, it may be a little bit different. And then you go out there and you consider, again, you look, did Quenneville sign these contracts? I know the coach can definitely, you know, have an effect on the guys drafted and, you know, talking to GM into keeping and not keeping a player, whatever else, then however you want to go down that road, right? But you can't miss the $10.5 million a year on Toews. I've been a guy that's defended Toews year in and year out, defending him, saying how great of a defensive player he is and whatnot, against all the haters that say he's overrated, he's not that good, and all of this, da-da-da-da-da. But I gotta say this, man. Toews, one season over 70 points, one Selke. He's a defensive stud, like I said. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay that by any means of the imagination. But you go and look at a guy like Bergeron. Now, I get it, he's playing, you know, Marchand and Pasternak now, and he's doing a little bit better in the point production-wise, but he's getting $7 million a year right now, and he's under contract, again, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I think he's under contract still, and you can be like, well, $7 million wasn't worth, you know, that was a good contract back then. Well, so was $7 million for Jonathan Toews back then. The difference is one won a few Stanley Cups and the other didn't, but if we paid the guys that won a Stanley Cup, every 3 Stanley Cups, you know, an extra $3 million a year, I think every team would be a little bit over the cap. And I've always thought Toews and Bergeron were very similar players. Again, you know, a debate for another day. Bruins fans will be like, nope, Bergeron's better. Blackhawks fans are going to be like, there ain't no way you can compare Bergeron to Toews. Toews is a mile and a half better. Regardless, though, $10.5 million, that was Crosby money. When you look back at that $10.5 million a year, that was Crosby-type money. And what would be my Crosby money is you're going to pay that player that kind of money if you expect him to be the best player on your team. And you look at it, do you consider Toews or Kane better on your team, right? I get it, Kane's getting paid the same amount of money. But I don't know. I think $10 million is a little bit steep. I think if you could have got him for maybe $7 million, 7.5-ish, then all of a sudden you got an extra $3 million cap space. Then you look at Seabrook. He's getting just under $7 million a year. He's going to be getting under $7 million a year until he's 39. Duncan Keith, same boat. He's going to be getting, I mean, again, Duncan Keith, though, you get Duncan Keith for $5.5 million back when he was 30, 29. He was like, I'll take it, right? But you're going to be paying him until he's 40, $5.5 million per year. That can be a little bit questionable. And then maybe one of the biggest question marks of them all is Brandon Saad at $6 million a year. Would you rather Saad or Panarin at $6 million a year? Why would I ask that question? I think we can all figure it out by now, right? We traded Brandon Saad. They traded Artemi Panarin. Both $6 million contract. And the whole reason behind it, people were saying was, well, they didn't want to re-sign Panarin to that $6 million contract. They couldn't afford, well, not $6 million, but they obviously wasn't going to be able to afford him after he went to free agency. And he said, well, we can keep Brandon Saad for $6 million for 4 more years. Whether you want to do that or not is a big, big question mark, especially when we go back to Jonathan Toews' contract. Maybe instead of giving Toews $10.5 million, you give him $7.5 million a year. That saves you $3 million cap space. all of a sudden that $6 million for Panarin, maybe one's $9 million a year, all of a sudden that becomes affordable, and you can keep Artemi Panarin on your team. And that does sound a little bit ridiculous to have two $10 million and one $9 million. How can some people keep stuff like that on their teams? I would just love to know. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning do the same thing. I feel we're pressed against the cap with nobody at $10 million. That's just one of them questions. Do you question management for stuff like that? Because if you're going to pay $10 million a year to two different people, you better expect them to carry two different lines, right? You look at Malkin, you look at Crosby, they're going to carry who they play with. Well worth $10 million a year if you pay them both $10 million a year. You look at Tavares, you look at Matthews. Again, two guys that are going to carry their separate lines. Well worth. Oh my, I can't believe I just said that. Matt, please, Toronto, please don't listen. But you get my point, right? And albeit Jonathan Toews can carry that team on the defensive end of the ice. We already brought it up, 60, 70 points. Again, that's nothing to sneeze at, but I don't know. It raises a lot of question marks on whether it should have been action taken on upper management or the head coach. But at the same time, you flip the wheel around and you think of, if you told me I got Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, and Duncan Keith, plus Corey Crawford in the net as cornerstones to my team, and we're struggling to win, I could probably, understandably, be a little bit upset. A lot of teams would kill for players with that type of talent. So what's everyone thinking here? Is it on the coach? Is it on the GM? The Blackhawks fans will probably be the most vocal about this one, as outsiders are just continue to speculate on which one should be which, right? Otherwise, though, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.